Welcome to the 2024 Winter Classic Student Cluster Competition Studio Update Show. Now, here are your hosts, Dan Olds and Addison Snell.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to the final episode this year, the 2024 Intersect 360 Research Winter Classic Invitational Student Cluster Competition Studio Update Show. I'm Addison Snell alongside Dan Olds. And Dan, what a season it's been.
It has been an incredible season, a roller coaster, up, down, leads changing. It's been amazing.
It has been amazing. We have had close seasons in the past, and we'll tell everyone about this. But as we watched the leaderboard, we thought, well, we've had the buzzer beaters and all that. Yeah. We're not going to have anything like that again. Not only has this year been just as close as in prior years, we've had lead changes at every turn.
Every single event scrambled the leaderboard. The top positions changing. We have some interesting battles, statewide battles to look at. It's going to be pretty cool. You'll see as we get into the results. But first, let's talk about the competition.
Let's talk about the competition and, just bring everybody up to speed. Yeah. For those who only tune in for the playoffs or the finals, you want to know what's been going on. Let's talk
only tune in for the very end of this one. In fact,
exactly.
Shame on you.
The Winter Classic Invitational, now in its fourth year, the third with Intersect 360 Research, is a virtual student cluster competition exclusively featuring historically Black and Hispanic serving institutions in the United States. And as a virtual competition, we have mentors and we have sponsors. The student teams visit the mentors 1 week on, then a week off, then a week on, then a week off, going through a series of challenges, each competing on common hardware to get the best possible score across a range of tasks.
And that's the great thing about the way this competition is architected. Again, it was built from the ground up to be virtual. The other thing, more importantly, is it's a level playing field. When students are with a mentor for their virtual week, they get the same instruction. They are running on identical hardware. They have the same opportunity to get their questions answered, and of course, the same time. And so it really, truly does come down to really the skills of the students.
And if you've been, it comes down to the skill of the students, how well they use the mentors. Everyone, as you said, is on a level playing field, so it really maximizes that. There's a total of 6 cluster challenges. Those are graded on a curve. The top team gets 100 points, and then everything else is normalized below that. And then if you've been following along, you've been seeing we'll recap some of the scoring. Yeah. It's been really close throughout. And then there's a final interview that's also with the teams that's also normalized to 100 points. So 700 points total available throughout the competition. You want to be near the top if you can in each of those individual challenges.
But the nice thing about this is that teams can streak up from behind. We've seen that in this as well. You're not out of it. The other thing, everybody wins because they're all learning. And learning is good.
And I just love the interaction with the students in this. And for many of them, it's the first time they've seen high performance computing. For a lot of them, it's the first time they've seen Linux or clusters or any of these science. And it really takes hold in a lot of the students.
I'm going to fix that on the Linux side. So stay tuned. That's going to be fixed. But let's meet the teams.
In this year's competition, we had 11 teams from across 8 different universities, some of them returning from last year. Dan, do you want to give a quick rundown?
Channel Islands. That's California State University Channel Islands. Sent 2 teams again, as they've been doing. First team, imaginatively named Team A. Second one is the second edition of the High Performance Dolphins Deluxe. We have Fayetteville, who's back after a 1-year absence, where I believe they spent that time revamping the team and rebuilding because they've come back pretty strong.
Impressive. They've been recruiting hard for this.
Yes, recruiting, training, closeted off, probably in the mountains somewhere. But solid team this year, very good. Jackson State is back again, which is great, with an all-female team again. Well, not again, but for the first time, all-female team. Morehouse, been a stalwart of the competition. They've been in since the very first year, along with Prairie View, who won the championship in 2022, which is good, coming back for another shot. Texas Tech, 2 teams. So far we've got the battle for California. Now we have the battle for Texas. They have Team Matador and Team Red Raider. And something really interesting here is that the coach for both of these teams is a guy named Michael Beebe, who's a PhD student at Texas Tech and was a competitor on their first team back in 2022. So he's done a great job, as you're going to see.
Absolutely terrific. Grateful to have his ongoing involvement.
Just a great guy, and he's very good with the students. We have Santa Cruz back for their 3rd year. They took a break as well, if I remember right. Maybe not. Anyway, I can't remember, but they're back. And they've built a little bit of a cluster competition business there. They've competed at the ISC competition, in the virtual competition there. And it's really great to see that this has caught on with them. Another place that's caught on is New Mexico. 2 teams from the University of New Mexico, the Lobos, which was their team last year, which also went on to SC, and a new team, Team Roadrunner. And both of them have some things to talk about in this competition. But we wouldn't have that without the mentors.
Yeah, the mentors are really critical in terms of giving their time, their expertise to these students. And we've got systems that they set everything up. They spend a week with the students, instruction.
They pick the applications too.
They pick the applications and the challenges. HPE, NASA Ames Research Center, AWS, Oak Ridge National Labs. And for the first time as a mentor this year, Google Cloud. So we're really appreciative to all of the mentors. We'll spend a little more time on each of those as we describe their challenges. And then, of course, not just mentorship, but we need sponsorship to make this happen every year. We're grateful that HPE is back again as the platinum level sponsor.
Yes, fantastic as both a mentor and a sponsor. Can't say enough good about what HPE has been doing with this competition. Silver, Google and AMD. Other great supporters. Bronze, we have AWS, Cornellus. They're both back again. VAST is new, as is DDN.
DDN also with second time with DDN as well.
Second time with DDN
as well. We're grateful to have them back as well. All right, so the team started out. Let's do a quick recap. We got full episodes on some of these previous challenges. Let's do a quick recap.
Take a look.
Challenge on how these challenges went.
First challenge, LinPack. You got to start with LinPack, right? Right. And the Channel Islands High Performance Dolphins, who were the champion last year, got out of the box with a very good LinPack. They took down 100 points for that. Matador's right behind them, followed by Fayetteville, the Roadrunners, the Red Raiders, and Prairie View. But look at this. Look how tight this is. You've got the top 6 teams separated by 8 points and change. Wow. That is tight. Nicely done. HPCG, again, mentored by HPE. These were both during the first week. The Matadors come out on top, pulling down 100. Fayetteville right in there. Santa Cruz, the Red Raiders, and the High Performance Dolphins slide down a little bit.
Now,
So
I love that
yeah,
HPE does this as the kickoff challenge for this sponsor for the tournament, I should say. LinPack, great introduction to HPC. HPCG is a benchmark, typically more challenging, and we'll see a little more spread between the
yeah,
teams and the top scores. And really grateful for HPE for the mentorship here.
they did a great job, and the fun thing about this competition is the mentors seem to enjoy it and really have a good time working with the students. Another longtime mentor is NASA Ames, and they've done a variety of things. They did the NASPAR benchmarks the first time. They did WRF last year. Now we're drilling down into the BTIO portion of it, and one of the fun things is that the guy who had a big hand in writing NASPAR was a judge on some of our interviews. That would be Henry from NASA, and they did a great job. Santa Cruz took home the top points on that, followed by the Lobos, Red Raiders. We're seeing some of the same names here, but in different positions. No one's dominating. The High Performance Dolphins from Channel Islands pulled in fourth, and the Roadrunners. Nice. New team.
No one
Very well
dominating, and the lead ping-ponging back and forth with the slugs coming out on the not slow slugs coming out on top on that one. All right, from there they were off to Oak Ridge National Labs and doing really down in the dirt drug discovery application.
Serious application, and this is their first real application, not benchmark workload. There's documentation out there for the benchmarks. There's places you can find information and tuning tips and all that. Not here. This is something that Oak Ridge put together for them. And it's very topical. They were doing a drug discovery and using a data set of COVID vaccines. And there's some AI in here too. So this was a brand new world. And as you can see, much bigger spread in the scores.
Yeah, but two of them really right up top there with a very narrow gap between Team Roadrunner from the University of New Mexico and Team Matador from Texas Tech. And then two others that are at the 75% mark or higher. So, when we get into the real applications, there's more of a spread in the scores. But Team Roadrunner racing to the top.
I didn't see that coming either. I did not see that coming. I was looking for some of the more dominant experienced teams to be on top. But for everybody on Team Roadrunner, this is their first cluster competition, their first Winter Classic at least. So, Relion coming from AWS. And if you're in the mood, and I'm sure everybody is, go back and take a look at the AWS mentor interview. And they go into a lot of detail about why they selected this and what they got out of it from the students. It's really interesting. Roadrunner starts a streak. This is the second consecutive event that they've won. The Red Raiders came out on top of the Matadors, very close behind, 99.05. Lobos in there. So this is kind of a New Mexico themed thing, and Fayetteville hanging in.
Yeah, for those not familiar with it, and I wasn't familiar with it, Relion, first of all, the name of it is kind of a backronym from regularized likelihood optimization, but it is a cryo-EM application, which is cryogenic electron microscopy, very hot in the biosciences space right now in HPC. So again, really at the forefront of where we see HPC getting used.
So as I explained it, getting things really cold and taking a really close look at them.
Exactly. Yeah. That's cryo-EM for you right there.
In a nutshell.
All right, then the final cluster
The final computational task by Google, GROMACS.
GROMACS, another top HPC application that we see.
Widely used.
Different University of New Mexico team claiming the top spot. This time it was the Lobos.
Yes. And Santa Cruz is still in there, close behind Channel Islands. And then we drop quite a bit. And what's going on here, we're running up against midterms, finals, and spring breaks.
So it's a challenge.
We maneuver around those, and we did it pretty well this year, but you can't get around them completely.
No.
So you're going to see some drop off here. But a good thing to finish up on, and it helped to give us some separation, but not as much as you'd think. So here's where the leaderboard is going into the interview. And look how tight that is. I mean,
man, less than 10 points between the top two spots after 6 computational cluster challenges and other teams within rock throwing distance of the top 2.
Yeah, there's still 100 points to be gained here. And everybody, in the top 4 or 5 has a shot at it. These interviews are important.
They matter. We see it. They have swung things before.
They have.
And we get a sense in these interviews, a sense of engagement from the students, how much it goes across the whole team, how much are they learning, and you get a team of experts in on the interviews, and these scores really matter for the final final tally.
The expert panel is pulled from all of the mentors, plus some other deep HPC people we know, like Brent Gorda, Henry Newman, others. And the students give a short-ish presentation peppered by questions from the panel. And going into this, again, 7 points, right? And there's only 17 points between Fayetteville and the Matadors. It's close. And then you go a little bit farther down, 2 points between New Mexico Lobos and the Roadrunners. Going to see what happens. So how did it turn out?
Well, before we get to that, we have a bit more of important news, which is the annual Bruckner Award scholarships named for our good friend Rich Bruckner, who passed away in 2020. Yes.
And Rich, huge fan of the cluster competitions from day one. He'd be floating around at SC or ISC in his red hat. I'd be over there, cheerleading and filming and stuff. It's like, Dan, who should I bet on? Who's a winner? Who should I go talk to? Who's looking good? And he just loved it. And he printed a lot about it as well. So these are the awardees for this year. We have Nicholas Anderson, Michaela Chandler, Zach Delaney, Maisie Dunleavy, Alexandra Kanigi, Rishkesh Patel, Jonas Smith, and Joshua Wendell, all well-deserving, and they will be getting a $1,000 grant from us, scholarship, which they don't have to really do anything with. We're not going to ask for receipts on did you buy books with this, or did you buy an Xbox, right? Up to you.
Or a lot of pizza. You never know.
A lot of pizza.
And that can fuel a lot of, you need pizza and caffeine to do clustering. So we know that those are
or
important
perhaps
ingredients.
And get yourself a high-end GPU.
It is great to see these students recognized by their peers and not just by us in terms of their leadership in the student cluster competition. So congratulations to the Bruckner Award winners. And now let's start getting to the final results. Dan, how did things turn out? Let's start from 7th place on the countdown.
That would be the former champion Channel Islands High Performance Dolphins Deluxe Squared. 7th place. That's a good showing.
That's bad.
Good. That's good.
Especially when you see how tight all this is. They're right in there.
And the Roadrunners did well. But the problem with the Roadrunners, they had a bad HPCG.
That did them in.
Yes, a bad one. And they, as you just saw, they came back strong. I mean, they took home 100 points on a couple of the challenges in there. They were in the top echelon, but it wasn't enough to overcome that first hit. And they were right up there in terms of LinPack as well, but so was everybody else. Fayetteville was kind of a perennial third going through, but they got caught up a bit by a stumble towards the end, a couple of stumbles, but a very solid performance all the way through. The Matadors, well, I guess since we haven't seen the Red Raiders yet, that kind of decides the battle for Texas.
Oh man. Okay. Well, very strong with and 2 points ahead of fifth place. So just nicking out Fayetteville State for fourth. Now we're going to get Dan to the podium round.
The trophy round. Yeah.
Trophy round. We, up until this point, it had a change in first place every single week in this tournament, which we had not seen prior to that. Can that keep up? I don't know.
I've seen the slides, so I do know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Give us the bronze medalists.
Bronze medal, the Lobos from University of New Mexico. Nice job. Nicely done. And they sort of flew under the radar for most of the competition.
They did have one individual challenge win in there.
Yeah, but that was about it. It was not, no one has dominated throughout.
But they were in there with strong scores. As you pointed out earlier, one, really bad showing can take you off the podium. So Lobos was in there and strong throughout. Well done.
Yes.
Third place, University of New Mexico, Team Lobos. Second place.
For the silver, Santa Cruz, the not so slow Slugs. Another team that they won one of the challenges, but they were up there in pretty much everything else. There were no stumbles from them, at least nothing bad. So great job, Santa Cruz.
And in first place, that leaves by less than 1 point overall, by 6/10 of a point.
Of a point.
Dan.
6/10 of a point. Gave it to the Texas Tech Team Red Raider.
Wow.
Again,
well
6/10 of 1 point.
That is by a nose at the wire.
Could not be any closer. It came down to the interview, and they both did great interviews, but 6/10 of a point in the end.
Well, and to your
incredible
point, all of these teams that are up at the top, they were showing in there with incredibly strong showings, consistent showings overall. And what we really loved seeing was the engagement from the students throughout. But
yes,
Texas Tech Team Red Raider, congratulations. You are the winners of the 2024 Intersect 360 Research Winter Classic Invitational Student Cluster Competition. Congratulations.
Congratulations. And to wrap up, we have a lot of people to thank. Of course, the students, the schools, the mentors, the sponsors, had to have them all. Wouldn't have been possible without them. And our overriding goal is to teach students these valuable HPC and AI skills, which are marketable. And we're looking to replace ourselves. The funny thing, I did a survey of past students over the summer in this competition, and most of them, I want to say about 75%, didn't really know that HPC was even a thing. Now, these are computer science students. They didn't know. They didn't think it was a possibility for them. After the competition, more than 70% want to work in HPC. And that's a testament to how interesting a field this is, using the greatest computing hardware and software to solve the world's biggest problems. That's a pretty cool challenge.
Well, and this is where I'm grateful to you, Dan, for starting the Winter Classic Invitational, because I had said before, as an analyst, the most important a topic for the long-term health of our industry is talent development.
Yeah.
So you hear that statistic there that, more than half, nearly 3/4 of these students say they come out of this competition saying they want a career in high performance computing. Now you're watching this video, you know where to go find some of these students. Anyone who's opting in, these students have classes, they have jobs. They have lives, and they're spending a couple of months doing this
on their own time.
And learning it.
Self-organized.
That's somebody I want to get into the industry.
And they want to come in. They're good. They'll hit the ground running, and they're hungry. And if you want to get in touch with them, reach out. Give us a call. Easy to find. We'll have a resume book. But there are some industry superstars in this group, and all of them would be great. The other thing is to take a look at the team interviews, where I specifically ask them what they're looking to do next. And you can get in there and find some really good students. So that's what we want to do. Get them hired. Let's do that.
Hired. Let's get them into this industry for good. I'm excited. Dan, thank you for another great season.
It's been a good year.
That'll put a wrap on the 2024 Intersect 360 Research Winter Classic Invitational Student Cluster Competition. Dan, are going to hang up the yellow jacket for another year.
Yep. Get it dry cleaned or whatever. They're indestructible. And we will see you all in 2025.